Hi, I'm Tim Knight. I'm here at the Obsession Factory today where they make obsession bows, and I'm here with Bipolar Broadheads. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share with you all the aspects of the Bipolar Broadhead, and you're going to soon find out why we call it bipolar, because it has so many different personalities. The first thing I want to go over are the basic parts of the bipolar. Okay, you're going to have your vibration band, you're going to have lock pin, axle pin. This is a trocar tip, and it is a 45 Rockwell hardness stainless steel trocar tip. You're going to have your ferrules. Now, this is the ferrule that, when assembled, the broadhead will weigh 125 grains. This narrowed down ferrule is the ferrule that, when assembled, your broadhead will weigh 100 grains. You have a fixed blade, and you have two swing or two expandable blades. You have a wooden shear pin, and you have over here too, that will come in the package, two practice blades that simulate the head in flight almost exact. Okay, so what we're going to show you here today is how to assemble the bipolar broadhead. Now, the only difference in the two ferrules is the 100 grain ferrule has got two large holes drilled in it. This lower large hole right here is just to remove weight and material from the ferrule. That's the only purpose it serves. So you're going to concentrate on the upper large hole and the small shear pin or lock pin hole right below it. The 125 grain ferrule only has the axle pin and the lock or shear pin hole. Now, to assemble this broadhead, it requires no tools. Okay. Now, the first thing you're going to do is, on your arrow shaft, you're going to install whichever one of the ferrules, whichever weight broadhead you get. Okay. One thing I want to make note of here too is both of these heads cut the same diameter. All right. You're not losing any cut in diameter by dropping from 125 grain down to a 100 grain head like most companies. Okay, the only thing you're doing is changing ferrules to change the weight. They both cut 1 1/8 by 2 1/8 expanded, and they're both 1 1/8 by 5/8 of an inch when they're in flight. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is put our ferrule on our arrow shaft. Now, you're going to take your two expandable blades, line the two large holes up in the expandable blades with the large hole in the ferrule. And you can also take this little shear pin to kind of help you get you lined up. Now, the next thing you're going to install is your axle pin. This is a 7/64 stainless steel pin. You'll never need one of these pins unless you lose it. Okay, it's a tank. It's a truck axle. All right. If you thread this pin, it's going to create two things. Number one, it's going to remove half of the strength from this pin. I wasn't willing to do that. Number two, if you thread it, then you're going to have to keep up with some type of small tool, like a very small Allen wrench or a very small eyeglass type screwdriver, to install this pin. So, being this pin is slick, once you line the holes up, it'll just slide right in, all right, and hold your blades. Now, what you're going to do is, you see now the blades, I'm holding the pin in there on my fingers, okay? Fold the blades forward. Now, hold your finger on the back side so your axle pin does not slide back out the back side. Now, if you're setting it up for hunting, you'll take this wooden shear pin, and it goes in the small hole up under the axle pin, okay? And you're going to push it through, and it's a tapered wooden dowel, basically. You're going to push it through until it gets very tight. Once it gets tight like that, you're going to break off the excess. Okay? Now, your shear pin is installed. These blades will not, guaranteed 100%, will not deploy on takeoff, in your quiver, in flight. You can even shoot our broadhead through blind mesh with this shear pin system. It is guaranteed under any circumstances from 20 degrees below zero to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, it's gonna keep these blades closed until they strike the target. No more worry about rubber bands, shrink tubing, O-rings become frozen, they become brittle. You shoot at an animal in sub-zero temperatures in the north if you're a northern bow hunter, and your blades fly open and your broadhead goes out there like a F-16 fighter. Okay, that problem's been solved. Now, if you'll notice with our fixed blade, this fixed blade has got shoulders on it. Okay, these shoulders ride up and over your axle pin, and that's what holds your axle pin in the broadhead. Okay, this is what holds the mousetrap together and also makes it toolless. Then it's just a simple matter of screwing on your trocar tip. Okay, now once you get your tip screwed on, this broadhead is ready to hunt with. Now, this broadhead works on what we call a tissue wedging system. In other words, I'm going to use this little paper clip as an example. As hair and skin and meat, watch this now, as they wedge between that blade and that ferrule, see how that blade's working its way open? I'm putting very little pressure. Well, that's putting torque or pressure on that little shear pin as it drives into the animal. And what that does, it only takes about 2 pounds of pressure to shear or break that little wooden pin. This was a learned technology by shooting other companies' broadheads through a steel drum, and their axle pin that their expandable blades rode on failed or broke. That gave me the idea of coming up, well, what if you wanted a pin to break? And that's how we got the idea of using the shear pin in the broadhead. Okay? Let's say you shot this broadhead through an animal, it comes out, it's bloody, it's dirty. It's very easy to disassemble, clean, and resharpen. Now, you're all familiar with your pocket knife. Your pocket knife is made, the blade in it is made from a tempered metal, which basically means it's very hard and it will not take a bend. If you've ever tried to use your pocket knife for a screwdriver, you know what happens. You break the tip off of it. These stainless steel blades, and while we're on the subject of blades, the fixed blade in this head is 20 thousandths thick. The expandable blades are 30 thousandths thick, okay? And if you'll notice, the expandable blades have no vents in them, okay? That's another learned technology. If you put any kind of vent or notch in this expandable blade, it will create a weak point. This is one of the few expandable broadheads, or hybrid heads as you might want to call it, that will survive a steel drum strike, okay? And we've got this video posted up on YouTube. You can shoot this broadhead through a steel drum and there'll be no damage to it, okay? But getting back what we were talking about with the blades, these blades are more of an annealed metal. So what does that mean? It means that they will take a bend before they break, okay? What does that mean? Let's just say if I did have a pocket knife and my blade had a slight bend in it and I stuck you with it, you're going to be just as dead, okay? But if I break that blade off at the handle, I'll be better off just getting a fist fight with you because I'm through cutting. For a broadhead to have blades that will take a bend, this allows it when it strikes a hard surface like cartilage or a knuckle bone or a leg bone or whatever on a marginal hit, this blade can navigate and go around, okay? And you're not going to break your blade off. If you break your blade, you're through cutting, okay? So just wanted to throw that out there. This broadhead is made out of quality aircraft aluminum and stainless steel. To basically shoot a good quality broadhead one time and not resharpening and reusing it is makes about as much sense to me as buying a brand new pocket knife and using it till it's dull and throwing it away, or buying your wife a brand new kitchen knife and watching her cut up a chicken and a watermelon and a cantaloupe and some tomatoes and then throw it away. Okay, this is a tool. Okay, it's a resharpenable, reusable tool. Okay, unscrew your trocar tip, slide out your fixed blade, push out your axle pin. The expandable blades will then fall out. Basically, your broadhead is disassembled. Now, you want to take a small straight pin or something and clean out the old shear pin material that's in it and in your blades. Now, if these blades happen to have a bend in them, get them on a flat surface, and even if they're severely bent, you can take a hammer and tap them back flat. Okay. Now, once you've got your blades cleaned and straightened, if they were bent, I like to use a vice grip tool like this needle nose vice grip. Alright, I'm going to clamp my fixed blade about halfway up. This is a Smith's broadhead sharpening tool. You can get these off eBay. I got this one, it was less than $10, free shipping, and all it does, it's got two little carbide teeth on the end of it. Okay, now I like to give my blades a little flash coat, spray coat of WD-40, and then it's just a simple task of coming to the edge of the table, taking your broadhead sharpener, zip, 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 zip down one time till you're satisfied it's sharp. You're going to undo it, turn it around, come back to the edge of the table, zip, 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 zip until you're satisfied it's sharp. Lay it to the side, grab one of your swing blades or expandable blades, clamp it in. Same thing, come to the edge of the table, zip, 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 zip until you're satisfied it's sharp. Now, to sharpen the trocar tip, I prefer to put my trocar tip on my ferrule rule right by itself. Now, this is a diamond stone. You can use this or a flat metal file on the fine side, or you can just use a regular whetstone. And it's just a simple matter. A trocar tip has three sides. You're going to lay it on one side, following the angle of the tip, and just work it back and forth a few strokes. Then you're going to turn it to the next side, back and forth a few strokes. Turn it, back and forth a few strokes. And one thing I also like to do is also give my tip a little flash coat of WD-40 before I sharpen it. But anyway, now you've got your tip resharpened, you've got your blades resharpened. Now it's just a matter of reassembling the broadhead, putting another shear pin in it, alright, installing what we're going to show you in just a minute, your vibration band, okay, and it's ready to hunt again. Now, once again, the name bipolar, okay, the dictionary definition of the word bipolar means having opposite poles, like north and south, east and west, left and right, up or down, okay. Anyway, there are two different ways to practice with this broadhead, okay. Number one is you can use the practice blades that come with the broadhead in the back of the pack, and this is what the head looks like with the practice blades installed, okay. Very simple, okay. Very simple. Now, the second way you can practice with this broadhead, which is the way that I prefer to do it, is I put my hunting blades, as far as my swing blades or my expandable blades, I put them in my ferrule, and your broadhead kit is going to come, or your pack of broadheads is going to come with this little small stainless steel pin. It's called a lock pin, and it does exactly what it says. You're going to install this lock pin into the shear pin hole, and what that does is it locks your expandable blades up where they cannot open. Now, something very important to remember here. Using that lock pin that locks your expandable blades up where they cannot open, along with your practice fixed blade, not your sharp hunting fixed blade, but your practice fixed blade. Now, as long as you shoot this, let me stress this, as long as you shoot this into a foam style block target or a 3D target, foam style only, not no blob target, not a bag target or a target with rags in it or cardboard, okay? Now, shoot it only into a foam style target. What this does with the lock pin in and your practice fixed blade in, it allows you to come as close as you possibly can to practicing with the actual head that you're going to launch at an animal the next time you go hunting. Okay, so let's just say I've shot it with the lock pin, okay, and the practice fixed blade, and I'm money. I'm hitting dead bullseye. Then you're just going to reverse the process. You're going to unscrew the trocar tip. You're going to remove the practice fixed blade. You're going to push out the lock pin, replace it with a wooden shear pin, put in your hunting fixed blade, screw your trocar tip back on there, install this vibration band, which we're going to cover in just a minute. Now, this broadhead and arrow combination are going in the quiver as number one. Then you get the next broadhead and the next arrow, okay, And you repeat this process until you fill your quiver up, or however many arrows you're going to carry to the stand with you. That way, there's no guessing on game day. You've shot each and every one of your hunting broadheads and arrow combinations at a target before you've launched it at an animal. Now, let me stress something here as a bow hunter. Never, ever, 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 ever shoot or take a broadhead and an arrow, a brand new broadhead, a brand new arrow, screw them together and put them in your quiver and assume that they're going to fly to your bullseye. You should always, as a bow hunter, you owe it to the animal and just the ethics of bow hunting to practice shoot your broadhead at a target before you ever launch it at an animal. Number one, okay, it's basically going to come down, it's not going to be an equipment failure. You know the old saying, it's not the bow, it's going to be the Indian. And it's really great feeling to know, all right, that you go to your stand and you know every one of your hunting broadhead arrows are money, okay? Hopefully you don't need that second shot, but in case you do, you know each and every one of your broadheads is going to fly to the spot. Now, let me back up 1 second and stress one thing. When you are shooting your expandable blades with the lock pin and your practice fixed blade, I don't recommend you shooting it more than 8 or 10 times, you know, at the target. That way you'll have no significant dulling of your expandable blades, although they're locked up. Okay, you'll have no significant dulling of your blades, okay, because the cutting edge is facing the ferrule. So the last thing we're going to cover is I'm going to show you how to install the vibration band, which is very simple, okay. And all it is, okay, a lot of broadheads out there use rubber bands to hold the blades together. They use shrink tubing, okay. They use O-rings, okay. Your shear pin has got these blades where they cannot open, okay, until it strikes a target. The only purpose of this little vibration band, okay, it's a 3/8 inch orthodontal band. It's basically what children put on their braces for their teeth. Very tough, very strong. But the only thing it's for is to make 100% sure, okay, that there is never any noise or vibration sound in this broadhead during flight, okay, or takeoff, okay, or in your quiver, okay. And it's very simple. And, you know, do you see the little ears that's on the expandable broadhead? Okay, all you're going to do is you're going to take this little band and you're going to go through, okay, now my fingers aren't real small. You're going to go through the fixed blade and you're going to hook that little expandable band on that ear of that blade and that ear of that blade. See there? Very simple, okay? And that makes sure no matter what you do, what you bump it against, there is absolutely no sound in this head because it's got moving parts in it, okay? This just is an insurance policy as a bow hunter. Okay, what we've tried to do from day one for the Bipolar Broadhead is we've polled hunters all over the country. What do you like about your broadhead? Blah, blah, blah. What do you not like about your broadhead? Blah, blah, blah. If you could change anything about your broadhead, what would it be? Okay, the Bipolar is a hybrid head. It's half fixed and half expandable. And what it does is it bridges the gap between guys who are adamant about fixed heads and say, I'll never shoot an expandable. I was in that group at one time, okay? I admit it, I was. I would not shoot an expandable broadhead, okay? Then you've got the other side of the coin where guys love expandables, okay? Because let's face it, a fixed cut head only cuts so big a hole. But an expandable broadhead gives you a much larger wound channel. Well, this gives you the best of both worlds, okay? It gives you the toughness of a fixed head, but it gives you the hemorrhage capability of a large expandable. Now, in closing, this is an all-season, all-game head. Whether you want to hunt a turkey, which, believe it or not, was what this broadhead was originally designed for, to do so much tissue damage to a gobbler, if you make a marginal shot in the vitals, you will still recover the bird, okay? But come to find out, it is truly devastating on anything, from wild hogs through shields, elk, bear, it's all season, you know. All you want to do is take this broadhead and go hunting. It doesn't matter what type of game. It's good for all of them. It's not a game-specific head. So, in closing, I would like to thank y'all for watching this video. I'm Tim Knight, and I'm right here, right there making those obsession bows. It's time to join the brotherhood. You know the old saying, change or get left behind. So, if I can answer any of your questions about bipolar broadheads, you're more than welcome to call me at my business, area code 478-275-4112, or you can text me or notify me on my cell phone, area code 478-984-7135. I'm Tim Knight, and as I always say, we'll see y'all in the woods.